long, and I mean a long history of changes. Everything from item nerfs, to buffs, to design changes, to entire POIs just getting completely decimated overnight. Some of these changes, however, was, better than others, we can just say. So I asked r/Fortnite Battle Royale, along with some friends over Discord, what was the worst changes Fortnite has ever done. These range from stupid item nerfs that was not needed to entire areas that outright ruined the game. This is some of the worst changes Fortnite has ever done in its 7-year history. The grenade nerf. Alright, let me ask you a question. During Chapter 4, what item would you say needed the nerf? Would you say the deck you smash? Maybe any of the kinetics? Well, if you thought grenades, apparently you're on the same side as Epic, apparently. Grenades, before they got nerfed, were an already low tier item. I would say maybe D tier at best. They more or less just served the purpose of get out of this corner already. Mainly because it was really hard to hit anybody with them, because these things took like a good solid 10 seconds to actually just blow up. So as long as your opponent wasn't in a wheelchair right next to the stairs, there was a good chance you was not going to be hitting them with them. Not to mention, you had to get like 2 or 3 consecutive hits in order to actually just kill someone if they was at full health. So more or less, grenades were just a get out of this situation type thing, where it's like you just throw them at something, blow it up, have someone now out in the open. And not to mention, the zero build, this was made even worse, since you couldn't now check them at builds, the main reason they was in the game for. Anyways, what did this nerf do? Simple. It nerfed them to hell. The grenades damage went from 100 if they was hit, to a whopping 40. Yes, 40 damage to players. To put this in perspective on just how bad this change is, it would take over a full stack to kill someone at full health in zero build, and it would take all 6 to kill a normal player at full health in normal build. With this change, because again, that's only 40 per hit, and you need to have basically all 6 or so hit in order to deal that damage too. They also was nerfed to deal less damage to structures, going from 375 to a whopping 75. This made it where you needed to have at least 2 to destroy a basic wooden wall. And fuck forbid if the opponent was using metal. This single change managed to take grenades from a very low D tier to a very low F tier. The grenade nerf was by far a pointless change and was not needed at all. Bullet drop. So, the list for this video today has like 11 or so different topics. However, there was one that got brought up over and over and over again. And it was bullet drop. And, yeah, I kind of expected this to get the #1 spot, like, overall. Please note, the topics in this video aren't ranked, by the way. But basically, bullet nerf was a stupid change they made back at the start of Chapter 5. Whereas everything before was a hit scan, where basically wherever your crosshair was, that's where the bullet went. Now, everything was bullet drop, so now it actually went a little under your crosshair, and you had to account for that arc. This single change made so much shit worse. Just, let's get the big one out of the way. This was just so bad in the long run. You had items like jetpacks or the rings, which were made so much harder to hit because of that stupid arc and bullet drop. Snipers were now pointless, which I'll actually get to in a bit, because now there was just no reason. Half the time the bullet went so far below the crosshair, you couldn't even hit your shots, because the only way you could hit them was going so far above, you couldn't even see what you was aiming at. And then everything else just felt so bad and weird, where it felt like you couldn't even hit where you was aiming at. Just to demonstrate how bad bullet drop actually was, back during Chapter 5, Season 3, a gray pistol dropped by an NPC was the top item in the loot pool for a while because that was the only item that was hit scan. Yes, a gray pistol dominated the loot pool because it was the only one to be hit scan and not have your bullets drop off a fucking cliff. It was not shocking at all to see that Epic quickly voted bullet drop the first chance they got, which was at the start of Remix. And it has not been seen ever since. Modifications. Okay, this was number 2 actually on the most brought up topic when I was making this video. Modifications were a odd case, let's just put it like this, where it was a good idea just done so horrible. So, there was the weapon mods, which were a cool idea, except Epic did them so poorly. Because in order to actually modify a weapon, you had to go to a mod bench. The issue? For Season 1, these mod benches were locked behind boss vaults, and there was 5 bosses. All on the edge of the map, except for one. It very, very quickly became a case where people would camp the vaults, kill anyone who just wanted to try to get the bench, and then Reckless just became a literal war zone because that was the only bench usually left in the final few circles if you wanted to mod your weapon. Then, for Season 2, 3, and 4, they added in bunkers, which had the same fucking issue where people would just camp them. And again, these mod benches were the only way to mod your weapon. You could get random mods off the floor when the item spawned, or out of chests, but the thing was, you couldn't pick them, and half the time they sucked. Like, genuinely sucked. You ever want to try using a shotgun with a scope? Yeah, I bet you do. Anyways, this became an issue where the mods just couldn't be accessed most of the time. Why bother going for something when most of the time it wasn't even going to end up being worthwhile? Then there was the car mods, which the wheels and like the front bumper things weren't as much of an issue. It was the guns. You had the rapid fire machine gun, which lived up to its name, let's put it like that, and then you had the frickin' rocket launcher, which just completely decimated anything that got near it. It became a quickly nerfed item for obvious reasons. Yeah, looking back on it, I 100% see why they nerfed this stuff. Because the machine gun literally just ripped through anything. And I mean anything, and then the grenade thing just made it where nobody could even get you safe, because if the machine gun couldn't get you, grenade did. Yeah, the modification system was just a really flawed system, and honestly was just one of those ones where they should have just really heavily worked on it before releasing it in the way it did. The unban wave. Okay, here's one I'm gonna get really heated on for obvious reasons. The unban wave happened back in April of this year. What was this? Epic just decided to unban any cheater that was previously banned for hacking, as long as they was not banned within a year prior of that announcement. Yes, this meant for from Chapter 1, Season 0 to Chapter 5, Season 3, if you was banned during that point for hacking, yeah, you just got basically another chance. Yeah, they literally just unbanned every single hacker. And then, here's the best part, they made it where people who actually did get banned for dumber crap, like Xenon, who got banned because he played a tournament being under 13, or iTalk, who did, I think, something with an account, I forget what it was, got banned permanently too, and lost everything on his account because he did that, and it didn't even affect anyone there. Like those two, oh no, they still got the bans and didn't get theirs revoked. Meanwhile, all these hackers, yeah, no, they're getting back in scot-free, basically. And when this wave happened, guess what? It wasn't, oh, now there's less cheaters. No, it was little hell. Ranked was filled to the brim with cheaters for 2 weeks where you couldn't even play for fun. It was literally just, there was so many hackers To the point where it literally felt like Epic only did this to try to make money off these people, only to end up punishing those who was actually legit players by making them suffer against these fucking hackers! Yeah, the unbanned wave was stupid, and I genuinely hope Epic has learned against doing shit like this. The jungle. Oh wow, what a nice map. I hope nothing ruins it. Fuck! The jungle biome, without a doubt, is just the worst biome Epic ever added into the game for one reason or another. To put it simply, this thing was basically just if you took Dusty Divot or Coal Castle, and instead of just having them be on like the edge of the map or something, or like just a small little speck in the center, it was literally a good chunk of the middle of the map, just now being a completely mud and water filled pit that you couldn't see shit into. Yeah, the jungle biome was that, and it was just bad. You basically couldn't see anything in because it was all, again, mud, trees, water. There was nothing else, maybe except a temple here or there. And it was all like bland grays or greens and maybe a brown here or there. And again, you couldn't see shit, and as an added bonus, water everywhere. If it wasn't mud, it was water. Where you was just either swimming the entire time or just being in mud every frickin' moment. And then the POIs in this shithole wasn't even better. You had Generic Temple, which is by far one of the worst ones Epic has ever added. You had Lonely Lab, just basically get copy and pasted onto another spot on the map. And then you had Shady Shit Town. There was literally no reason for this entire area to exist. Oh, and as the added bonus, actually removed a bunch of good POIs and a bunch of the roads, making the already bad to traverse map even worse. And again, did I mention this thing was basically a giant fucking pit? There is nothing that can contend to having to put up with this shithole of a stain on this map for nearly 6 months. Yes, this thing was in for 2 seasons before it finally got removed. Just the jungle. I hate it. Adding in too many modes. So, since Chapter 5, Epic has been trying to push there being a lot more modes than normal Fortnite. How many official main ones do we have? Well, let's just read the list. Right now, as I'm making this video, we have BR, Ranked BR, 0 build, Ranked 0 build, Reload, 0 build reload, Ranked reload, Ranked 0 build reload, Blitz, LEGO Odyssey, LEGO Expeditions, LEGO Brick Life, Party Royale, Legends Landing, Rocket Racing, Ranked Rocket Racing, Ballistic, OG, 0 build OG, Festival Main Stage, Festival Battle Stage, Festival Jam Stage, Respawn Rumble, Save the World, and Creative. That is 25 main modes, not counting your tournaments or LTMs that will show up. And it used to be 28 because there used to be a rank for both OG and OG 0 build, along with there being a casual queue for Ballistic, which got removed because nobody was playing them. This is a very obvious case where the issue is present, where there's just so many modes where it just becomes overwhelming and just splits up the player base way more than needed. Also, for a good while, Epic was giving every mode a fucking ranked variant. When the Getaway came out, it had a ranked variant for both its main modes. Yes, an LTM had a ranked variant. Getaway 0 build ranked was an official mode. And yes, that mode got quickly removed because nobody was playing it and nobody could find queues for it. It's honestly shocking to see how many modes get added. Meanwhile, ones like Imposters get removed because nobody was playing them. Meanwhile, you have Rocket Racing, which is just down 6 feet under. Honestly, I hope they don't add mer modes because I think at this point we're just all getting really overwhelmed with just the amount there is. changing the amount of levels needed to complete your pass. So, back during the start of Chapter 6, Epic changed the amount of levels needed to get all your styles and items out of the Battle Pass. Whereas before it was around 150, you now had to get to 170. No, I am not counting the super styles. Those are just extra styles for those who want to get them. Basically just giving people a reason to play even more after they got their normal pass done. Now, you have to get to level 170 to get all your normal styles and items. Oh, and your V-Bucks? Yeah, they actually made it even more higher too. Because now, you have to get to level 150 or something to get all your V-Bucks. Whereas before, it was only get to level 100. And this kind of causes some issues because it makes the game feel a lot more grindy just to get the stuff you already paid for. And overall, it just felt like a pointless change that really wasn't needed. The bundle rule. Oh boy, this is probably one of the cases I will best say fits the don't punish everyone for the mistake of one. The bundle rule got added after people found an exploit that let them gift someone an item from a bundle, refund it, and then they was able to buy that bundle for 100 V-Bucks. People abused this, and then some YouTubers found it, started yapping their mouths about it, got it into Epic's radar, and then Epic put out a fix for it. The fix was if someone owns an item of the bundle, they are no longer allowed to gift that bundle to the... and that. Meaning, say your friend owns, like, the Squid Game skin or bundle, where he's only missing, like, one skin out of that entire bundle. Whereas the bundle would be normally discounted to account for this, Epic won't let you gift them the bundle with the discount because he already owns stuff from that bundle. It's one of those changes where it ends up punishing those who was actually just being good and wasn't using this exploit more than the ones who was using the exploit. Now, instead of being able to get your friend the entire bundle because he accidentally owned one item, you have to spend more just to gift them the stuff. It was a really pointless change, and honestly one of those ones where Epic should have just did something else instead of just ruining it for everyone. Age ratings and confrontational emotes. Yeah, I'm counting both of these in the same boat because they are literally the exact same thing, which is Epic protecting people who shouldn't be on the game. Alright, I'm just gonna say this right here. I hate it when games do it where they protect people who shouldn't be on the game. It's an M-rated game. Why am I getting in trouble if I swear on an M-rated game activation? Anyways, back during OG, Epic decided to add in an age rating restriction for a lot of skins. What did this do? Basically, these skins you paid for couldn't be used in experiences in Epic that qualify for an E or E10 rating, despite the game being T, along with its main mode at the time also being T. And guess what? Some of the cases where skins got restricted. The most common two was either they was considered scary, like Venom or the Devourer, but the most common one was if they had a weapon, most primarily known as a gun, on them. Yes, items which had guns got this restriction. And again, the game's main mode is shooting people with fucking guns! And yes, this went as well as you'd thought. People was rightfully furious that Epic was banning skins with guns, basically, in a game where the main mode is shooting people with guns! Epic quickly reverted this update a few days later for the obvious stupidity that this update was, and although age restrictions are still in, they're nowhere near as bad as they was back when they first came out. Then there was the confrontational emotes, which were just about as dumb. Basically, you could enable a setting that disabled a whopping 4 emotes. Yes, 4 emotes. That was the original 4 that got added when this update was announced that could get disabled, and they have not added any since. One of those emotes was this, by the way. Yeah, apparently this is confrontational. Yeah, this was just pure stupid. The Lego rule. Okay, this single wool managed to kill shops for like 6 months. What was this wool? Easy! If a skin or emote did not have a Lego variant, it couldn't come back to the shop. This went on for a good chunk of Season 2 and the entirety of Season 1 of Chapter 5. You had shops repeat themselves over and over and over, or you had skins show up multiple times in the same shop. There was cases where some items would literally show up a day after they got removed because nothing else could show up in the shop. You had bundles show up where you couldn't buy anything separate because that was the only way they could get the items in. Or, my favorite, you had some cases, items show up without the bundles because there was stuff in the bundles that didn't have a Legos version. Yeah, this went on for months, where we literally just had a shop drought, where you could literally buy the V-Bucks, wanting to give Epic money, and Epic would add nothing in for you to actually buy, because it's literally the exact same Skull Trooper skin you've seen 98 times within the past week. It was bad, let's just put it like that, and thankfully they did not make the same mistake with Kicks, and they learned their lesson very fast with this. The shotgun and sniper nerf. This one is by far the most pointless change, up there with like the grenades or age ratings. The shotgun and sniper nerf basically just killed both these gun variation or families, whatever the hell they're called. Basically, what happened was before, shotguns and snipers were high risk, high reward. Although they had long cooldowns, they could deal a lot of high damage or in some cases insta-kill headshots. This nerf just completely ruined that. So for starters, shotguns was made unable to do the insta-kill headshot, along with just having damage nerfed. I also should mention this started with Chapter 3 and went to, like, Chapter 6. Yeah. Basically, shotguns got killed because now you couldn't deal high damage headshots, which basically made it SMGs quickly took over the meta. This caused so many seasons to become spray and pray due to there was no way to counter SMGs because shotguns were just made pointless. Then snipers also lost the damage due to the insta-kill headshot, but then also was given a glare. So now people could just see you from a fucking mile away. Yeah. Both these items got unnecessary changes, which ended up just hurting them more than needed. Like, don't nerf high risk, high reward items by making the risk higher, but then nerfing the reward. That's just not going to work. You can't make it where an item has a very high risk, but then make it have a very low reward. Vice versa. If an item has too high of a reward, you can't make it have too high of a risk. Or too low of a risk, I should say. What the f? Basically, this was a very pointless nerf. So, thank you all for watching this video. If you want me to do a part 2, because I can do a part 2. Seriously, there was like 20 or so topics I had just for the concept of this video. And I had to cut that down in like half so this video wasn't an hour long. So, again, if you want me to do a part 2, I will gladly do it just because I have the content basically already done. Just gotta record in that. And anyways, thank y'all for watching. Have an awesome dog day. I